Welcome to the 4th grade curriculum preview for the 5th 6 weeks. I want to remind you that you might need to have the overview in front of you, so as we go by, as we go through this whole presentation, that you will be able to jot things down and make plans and take notes. Another thing is that you can stop this video at any time by clicking on the link, the arrow, and doing what you need to do, and then when you want to resume, you click on the link again. Let's take a look at the lead standard for reading this 6 weeks. It is Figure 19F, making connections between literary and informational text with similar ideas and providing textual evidence with them. So that is your lead standard for this 6 weeks. Your processes are independent reading, extremely important that your kids are reading at their independent reading level with some type of response. That could be a reading journal or log. It could be actually taking your lead standard and having them read in their self-selected text, an informational text with a literary text, and making a comparison. But there needs to be 300 minutes per 6 weeks of independent reading. Media literacy is another process skill that we're doing, and it's like various written conventions used in digital media. You'll take a look at the clarifier to help you with that one. Your genres for this 6 weeks in theme and genre, we're going to compare and contrast the adventures of different types of characters like the trickster in traditional and classic literature. In drama, you're going to compare the treatment of similar theme in a play or script and a literary text. In nonfiction, you're going to identify similarities and differences between the events and characters experienced in a fictional work and the actual events and experiences described in an author's biography and autobiography. Are you seeing how this ties so great into the lead standard, how each one of these is comparing? And then in informational and procedure text, you're going to understand how to glean and use information in procedural text and documents. They are to determine the sequence of activities needed to carry out a procedure like in a recipe. In word study, you will be looking at other ways to spell SH and the silent letters of like knee and ring. You are expected to have the kids with their spelling sight words and homophones designated for grade 4, and they are to be using them in their first draft writing across all contents. In vocabulary, you are going to be applying roots and affixes designed for 4th grade spelling and word study, and then being able to have 10 to 12 vocabulary words for each 6 weeks pulled from authentic texts. Complete analogies using knowledge of antonyms and synonyms. So now that we know what the lead standard and the partnering standards are, let's look at the word work and what you might do in your instructional time. In word work, you're going to continue to build vocabulary, recording this learning in the Reader's Handbook. When you examine roots and affixes, then you're going to be putting that in that piece of the Reader's Notebook and then having kids find examples of that in their reading and in their exploration of text. You're going to teach students to use dictionary or glossary to determine meanings and syllabication and pronunciation of unknown words. In your word work with your spelling rules and patterns, you want to use that in your Writer's Handbook to put that into a place where kids can understand the rule and what it means, and then find the words that it applies to, and then have them write sentences to show them how you use those words. These 2 books are used as a reference tool and are really good for the student because for them it's a handbook. Let's take a look at what some of your focus lessons should be. Because you're working on Figure 19, you want to use your grade level poster, Who's in Control, to introduce the unit question. How is the author's unique perspective conveyed in the development and pacing of the message? Explain that students will use this 6 weeks to compare how authors address the same topic or theme from their own point of view. And you're going to use mentor text to look at each one to model that. You're going to read and discuss paired text, compare how the same topic is addressed in different texts, and provide textual evidence to support these responses. If you look in your overview at this time, you're going to see different things that we've asked you to look for. So you look right there about how to read and discuss paired text. you want to take a look at what the genres that are addressed on STAR at this time. You want to take a look at all the different things and really make sure that your kids where are they at on each of these skills? What is it that maybe you might need to teach and revisit? So looking at all of the genres that are addressed, thinking about where are my kids and what do I need to do, and take a look at STAR Release. On each of the clarifiers you'll have STAR Release questions, so that will help you in helping you to show your students how to use those things to be successful on STAR. By the end of the 6-week unit, students are expected to complete a minimum of 300 minutes of independent reading and then 300 minutes of guided reading. Very important. Take a look down at the very bottom. Remember, there is no substitute for eyes on text reading. To become a better reader, students must read a lot. Make sure that all Literacy Center activities keep students purposely engaged in reading authentic text, not worksheets that require them to apply the skills taught in your focus lessons. You're going to continue to meet with your small groups. You're going to meet with those struggling readers every day in their level reading, and just make it a priority to meet the kids where they are at their level. We'll talk a little bit about the CBA Blueprint. Remember that it is up in Forethought. You'll go into yearly documents, and it is in the very bottom. If you click on the reading here, you're going to see reading. Then you will come up with this. There's the reading blueprint. And then I have a scaffolding question thing by Jan Richardson that's very helpful in that. One of the things that we noticed on the CBA when we were looking and just looking at analyzing what errors were made, we started taking a look at maybe the process that the kids are using when they take these type of assessments. So we have some suggested procedures, and it's a modified close reading to be quite honest. So maybe you should practice this several times during the 6 weeks and able to secure the student's capacity to follow it. Number one is just have the students read the entire passages, to read the passage from the front to the very beginning to the end, to read for just to know the passage. Then have them reread the passage for a second time. During this reading, they'll annotate each paragraph, maybe for the main idea or summarizing or key ideas, or even asking themselves the question, do I really understand what I just read? 3, students will identify the author's purpose for writing this piece. In expository or a piece with subheadings, consider having students note the purpose for each section. And then 4, students read and answer the questions using the text evidence that they have noted in the passage. Just getting them used to doing this whole procedure and helping them to actually read the piece and then go back and study it. Let's take a look at writing. I know writing is a big thing, and we are really working hard on really having kids producing quality writing. They're expected to use details and word choice to convey the writer's unique perspective on the topic. And that's including personal narrative writing and then personal expository writing, and that's what they'll be doing on STAR, is personal expository writing. In the writing process, let's take a look at plan. BIC students are expected to generate an effective plan quickly and completely with personal narrative and informational writing. Then in developing their drafts, BIC students are expected to maintain a logical, well-controlled progression of ideas that enhance the central message. In revision, students are expected to improve fluency by varying the sentence structures. And then in editing, they are to routinely proofread for accurate application of all your spelling rules and just for all those conventions that are very important in writing a good piece of writing. The genres that we're going to be looking at is literary text. They're expected to write imaginative stories to build a plot. And then with their expository and procedural text is to write procedural or work-related text to communicate ideas and to create brief compositions. And then students are expected to use details and word choice appropriate to the expository task to convey the writer's unique perspective on the topic. In other words, they're going to write to the prompt. The conventions that you're going to be working on are verbs and irregular verbs, and then adjectives, and then in their comparative and superlative forms, and then look at the Spanish versions of those standards. What we want to do with our focus lessons is, if you've come to the support meetings, you know that, and you came to the 4th grade scoring, you want to be following the lesson plans that we gave you that were very explicit, that Norma wrote. She will be sending new lesson plans, and I will be sending those out. But the power paragraphs are extremely important, standing on the shoulders paragraphs. And I've witnessed this in classrooms, and it is very powerful. You might want to be using the prompt sort activity to practice interpreting personal narrative and expository prompts, probably just maybe expository right now, and help students recognize common themes within the collection of prompts and think flexible to see how they can use the topics they know best. So that prompt sort activity is going to be a great one. And then continuing to do the stop drills with kids, but just really writing, and then making sure that you have multiple choice, the editing and revising, either if you're going to use it through the new book that we purchased for you about this, about combining sentences and going through that process, or whether you're using Mentoring Minds, Revising and Editing. Students need to be taken through that process 2 or 3 times a week. We really need to really focus our lessons. Review the analysis of TEKS addressed on STAR. That is a document that Norma gave us that we took a look at to really look at the skills that your students need to develop and what's been on STAR, and to really focus on those. And we need to have kids develop a routine, or even the times that what they'll need to do and how they need to spend time on certain tasks. We will be having a new support meeting, and you need to see if you can make sure that you're there, because that will be very important. If you're giving a mock STAR writing assessment, make sure that you really use that data to inform your instruction. The last thing I want to do is to give a shout out to our digital learning specialists. They have been at TCA and have shown other people throughout the state and other states about the great work they're doing. This is a presentation on how they're using iMovie, or how people in our district are using iMovie to get excited about reading. So as you plan, I hope that if you have any questions, that you will give me a call at 5805 or email me and let me know how I can help you.